Share it out. Share it out. Ska, 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 ska. Share it out. Ska, 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 ska. Check. Check, 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 check. Share it out, Gina. Share it out. Ska, 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 ska. Camille Tyler. Camille Tyler. Yeah. Check, Camille. Ska, 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 ska. Sweet as sugar. Sweet as sugar. Okie Grower 75. Test Okie Grower. Test. Test, 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 test. Debbie Carson. Debbie Carson. Sweet as sugar's revenge. Okie Grower 75. Okie Grower 75. Infinite psychosis. Infinite psychosis. Infinite psychosis. Sweet as sugar's revenge. Check. Van life with Gina. Check, darling. Darling. Art with Killy V. Art with Killy V. Roxanne. Dirty, rotten imbecile. There it is. Shannon Shack. Shannon Shack. Shannon Shack. Shannon. Oracles and beyond. Oracles and beyond. Yeah, it's Amodia. Hey, Scully. Check, yes. Urban van life. Urban van life. Test, Neil, test. Gina Bianavinci. Gina Bianavinci. Tonight, we're going to be reading Misery by Stephen King, so buckle up. It's quite the ride. We'll see you on the other side. Check. Rants with Rogers. Watch the ankles, Scully. Check. Benny Loco. Benny Loco. Benny Loco. Benny Loco. Ska, Benny Ska. Ska, 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 ska. Ska, Benny Ska, 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 ska. Books on tape with a twist. Scully, the author that reads to you. Rants with Rogers. Rants with Rogers. Welcome, Jelly Duck. Check. StreamYard. Check, StreamYard, check. Urban Van Life. Urban Van Life. Infinite Psychosis. Sweetest Sugar's Revenge. Oh yeah. Blood Dragoon, welcome Blood. Wonderful Gamer, Blood Dragoon. Lynn LeBlanc. Check Lynn. Lynn LeBlanc. Sound check, Lynn. Sound check. Check. Shannon Shack. Shannon Shack. Prometheus, hello, Gina Pianovinci. Cannabis Culture Australia. Cheers to all. BB Truth. BB Truth. Ska BB. Ska 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 BB. Ska ska ska. How's that sound, darling? Here we go, Benny Loco. We're all set. Gina, I'm so ready for this. Benny Loco. Oh, this squeaky chair. Ska, 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 your mojo, your mojo, your mojo, your mojo. The Scoopy Life, the Scoopy Life. Roxanne Scully, ska, ska, Scully, doing the ska dance. You guys ready for this? Misery by Stephen King. We fade in on a single cigarette. A match, a hotel ice bucket that holds a bottle of champagne. The cigarette is unlit. The match is of a kitchen variety. The champagne unopened. Is Dom Perignon. There's only one sound at first, a strong wind. Now another sound, sharper. A sudden burst of typing as to reveal Paul Sheldon typing at the table in his hotel suite. It's really a cabin that's part of a lodge. Not an ornate place. Western themed. He is framed by a window looking out at some gorgeous mountains. It's afternoon. The sky is gray. Snow is scattered along the ground. We're out west somewhere. The wind growls stronger. There could be a storm. Paul pays no attention to what's going on outside as he continues to type. He's the hero of what follows. 42, he's got a good face, one with a certain mileage to it. We are not, in other words, looking at a virgin. He's been a novelist for 18 years, and for half that time, the most recent half, a remarkably successful one. He pauses for a moment, intently as if trying to start. Check. He pauses for a moment intently, as if trying to stare a hole in the paper. Now his fingers fly and there's another burst of typing. He studies what he's written, then we cut to the paper as he rolls it out the machine, puts it on the table, prints, in almost childlike letters these words, "The end." Heavy metal chef. Heavy metal chef. Hey, Callie. Callie, Callie Curly. Paul goes to a suitcase sitting across the room. He pulls something from outside. A battered leather briefcase. Now he takes his manuscript, carefully opens the briefcase, gently puts the manuscript inside. He closes it. And the way he handles it, he might almost be handling a child. Now he crosses over, opens the champagne, pours himself a single glass, lights one of the cigarette with himself a single glass. Check. Now he takes his manuscript, carefully opens the briefcase, gently puts the manuscript inside. He closes it. And the way he handles it, he might almost be handling a child. Now he crosses over, opens the champagne, pours himself a single glass, lights the one cigarette with the lone match. There is a distant feeling of ritual about this. He inhales deeply, makes a toasting gesture, then drinks, smokes, and smiles. Hold briefly, then cut to a sign that reads Slide Winder Lodge. Behind the sign is the hotel itself, old and desolate. Now a 65 Mustang comes out of the garage, guns ahead toward the sign. Paul is driving. As Chuck Berry music starts, he heads off into the mountains. Paul driving. As he comes out of the curve, a stunned look hits his face as we cut to the road ahead. And here it comes, a mountain storm. It's as if the top has been pulled off the sky, and with no warning whatsoever, we're into a blizzard. We cut to the Mustang, slowly driving deeper into the mountains. Paul squinting ahead, windshield wipers on now as he Chuck Berry glides into sweet little 16. The Mustang rounding another curve, losing traction. Paul's a skilled driver, bringing the car easily under control. We cut to the road where snow is piling up. Paul drives confidently, carefully. Now he reaches out and ejects the Chuck Berry's tape. Expertly turns it over, pushes it in as if the music starts again. He hums along with it. We cut to the sky. Only you can see it. There's nothing to see but the unending snow. Nothing to hear but the wind which keeps getting wilder. We cut to the road. Inches of snow on the ground now. This is desolate and dangerous. Paul's driving turns Chuck Berry louder. We cut to the snow, it's worse. We cut to the road, curving sharply, dropping. A sign reads, curved road, next 13 miles. The road swerving down, and the Mustang, all traction gone, and Paul is helpless. Skidding, and we cut to the road as it drops more deeply. Away in the wind whips the snow across, and the Mustang starts to spin. We cut to the mountainside as the car skids off the road. Careens down, slamming into a tree. Bounces off, flips, lands upside down, skips, stops, finally dead. Hold on the car a moment. There's still the sound of the wind. And there's still Chuck Berry belting out his songs. The tape, perhaps the only part left undamaged. We cut to the wreck, looked at from a distance. The music sounds were only faintly heard. The car is barely visible as the snow starts to cover it. He's inside and doing his best to fight it, but his consciousness is going. He tries to keep his eyes open, and they're slits. Slowly he manages to reach out with his arm for his briefcase. And he clutches it to his battered body. Motionless, he still clutches the battered briefcase. As we dissolve to the briefcase in Paul's hand as he sits at a desk. Bell in voiceover asks, "What's that?" Full back to reveal, we are in the New York City in the office of Paul's literary agent, Bryce Bell. The walls of the large room are absolutely crammed with book and movie posters in English and all kinds of other languages, all of them featuring the character of Misery's Chastain, a perfectly beautiful, strong-looking woman. Misery's challenge, Misery's triumph. Half a dozen of them. All written by Paul Sheldon. We cut to Paul lifting up the battered briefcase. Maybe when new it cost $2, but he treats it like gold. Paul says, "An old friend. I was rummaging through a closet and it was just sitting there like it was waiting for me." We cut to Bell. He doesn't know what to say. It's neat, Paulie. Some swell merchandise. When I wrote my first book, I used to carry it around in this while I was looking for a publisher. That was a good book, Bryce. What'd it sell? 6 copies, or was it 8? I was a writer then. Bryce, I haven't been a writer since I got us into the Misery business. Bell holds up the poster of Misery's Child. Not a bad business. That thing would still be growing too. The first printing order on Misery's Child was the most ever. Misery Chastain was a gold mine, and you had to go and kill her. You killed a gold mine. Bryce, we've been all over this. If I hadn't gotten rid of her, I'd have ended up writing her forever. For the first time in 15 years, I think I'm really on to something here. Well, fine. But just so you know, you have a lot of fans out there, and when they find out that you killed off their favorite heroine, they're not going to say, "Oh good, Paul Sheldon can finally write what we've always wanted. An esoteric, semi-autobiographical character study." Bryce, please try and hear me. I'm leaving for Colorado to try to finish this. If I can make it work, I might just have something that I want on my... We cut to Paul's tombstone. the upside-down car with the blizzard coming gale force and his motionless body trapped inside the car. Check. Oh song, oh song, oh song, oh song. Jenny's books and vlogs. Benny Loco, Benny Loco, your mojo. Benny Loco, your mojo. We cut to Paul and Annie as she cradles him in her arms. Once he's clear of the car and lays him carefully in the snow. We cut to Paul and Annie close up as she slowly brings her mouth down close to his. Then their lips touch as she forces air inside them. Annie says, "Breathe." Their lips touch again. "You hear me? I said breathe." We cut to Paul as he starts to breathe. In a moment, his eyes suddenly open wide, but he's in shock. The eyes see nothing. We cut to Annie. The moment she sees him come to life, she goes into action, lifting Paul in fireman's carry, starting the difficult climb back up the hill. As she moves away, Paul and Annie are obliterated by the snow. We dissolve to the white of what looks like a hotel. Check. We dissolve to the white of what looks like a hospital. Everything's bled of color. It's all vague. We're looking at this from Paul's blurred vision. Annie is standing beside the bed. She wears off-white and seems very much like a nurse, a good nurse. An IV bottle is next. The medicine dripping down a long tube into Paul's left arm. The other arm is bandaged and in a sling. Paul is motionless and dead pale. He has a little beard now. Eyes closed. He is shaking with fever. Where am I? Annie is quickly by his side. Shh. We're just outside Sidewinder. How long? You've been here 3 days. My name is Annie Wilkes. And I'm my #1 fan. That's right. Here, Now he brings the pills closer. Take these. What are those? It's all right. I'm a nurse. We dissolve to the exterior of the place. It's a farmhouse. We're in a desolate area with mountains in the background. The house is set on a knoll so that Paul's room, although on the first floor, is 10 feet off the ground. We cut to Paul in the room. He's not on the IV anymore. His fever has broken. Annie enters with the pills in her hand. Here, Paul, take these. What are they? They're called narrate. They're so for your pain. Should not be in a hospital. We cut to Annie, a cool rag to his forehead. Annie says, "The blizzard was strong. I couldn't risk trying to get you there." Paul says, "Did you call a doctor?" "I tried, but the phone lines are down." "Now you mustn't tire yourself. You've got to rest. You almost died." We cut to Annie, close up. Sometimes her face shows the most remarkable compassion. It does now. Hold it and briefly, then dissolving to Paul's room where he lies in bed. His fever's gone, but he's terribly weak. Annie watches him sympathetically. "Your legs just sing grand opera when you move, don't they?" Paul says nothing, but his pain is clear. "It's not going to hurt forever, Paul. I promise you." "Will I be able to walk?" "Of course you will. And your arm will be fine too. Your shoulder was dislocated pretty badly. It was a little stubborn, but it finally popped back in. But what I'm most proud of is the work I did on those legs. I don't think there's a doctor who could have done any better." And now suddenly she flicks off the blanket, uncovering his body. Paul stares, stunned at the bottom half of his body as we cut to Paul's legs. She splintered them with slim steel rods that look like the hacksawed remains of aluminum crutches, and there's taping circling around. From the knees up, they're all swollen and throbbing and horribly bruised and discolored. His legs have been pulverized. Paul lies back in disbelief. "Now, Paul, it's not nearly as bad as it looks. You have a compound fracture of the fibula in both legs, and the tibia in the left leg is fractured too. I could hear the bones moving, so it's best for you the legs to remain immobile. And as soon as the road opens, we'll take you to a hospital." In the meantime, you've got a lot of recovering to do, and I consider it an honor that you'll do it at my home. We cut to Misery's perfect face. Check. Susie Valentin, realtor. A little fish in the kitchen. Here's Dodgy. Gina Biana Benji. Ska, 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 ska. We cut to Bell in his office. He pushes the speakerphone, gets up, paces. He's very hesitant when he speaks about Paul, almost embarrassed. I'm a literary agent and I feel like a fool calling you, but I think one of my clients, Paul Sheldon, just might be in some kind of trouble. And just what kind of trouble do you think Mr. Shelton might be in? Sheldon, Paul Sheldon, you know, the writer. We cut to Buster. He's rolling a penny across the back of one hand. He's very good at it. Doesn't even look while he does it. Oh sure, Mr. Sheldon, people sure like those misery books. Well, I'm sure you know how Paul's been going to the Sidewinder Lodge for years to finish his books. Yeah, I understand he's been up here the last 6 weeks. Not quite. I just called and they said he checked out 5 days ago. Isn't that a little strange? I don't know. Does he always phone you when he checks out of hotels? We cut to Paul's room. Paul's voice soft. I guess it was a kind of miracle, you finding me. And now Annie's sweet laughter is heard. Annie stands over him, finishing shaving him with a very sharp straight razor. She wears what we will come to know as her regular costume. Plain wool skirts, gray cardigan sweaters. Annie says, no, it wasn't a miracle at all. In a way, I was following you. Following me? Annie concentrating on shaving him with great care. She has wonderful, strong hands. Well, it wasn't any secret to me that you were always staying at the Sidewinder. Seeing as how I'm your #1 fan and all, some nights I just tool on down there, sit outside and look up at the light in your room. And I try to imagine what was going on in the room of the world's greatest writer. Say that last part again. I didn't quite hear. Oh, don't move, Paul. Wouldn't want to hurt this neck. Well, the other afternoon I was out for a spin and there you were, leaving the lodge. And I wondered why a literary genius would go for a drive when there was a big storm coming. I didn't know it was going to be a big storm. Lucky for you, I did. Lucky for me, too. Because now you're alive and you can write more books. Oh, Paul, I've read everything of yours, but the misery novels. We cut to Annie close up. I know them all by heart, Paul. All 6 of them. I love them so. We cut to Paul looking at her. There's something terribly touching about her now. You're very kind, Annie. And you're very brilliant. And you must be a good man or you could never have created such a wondrous, loving creature as misery. She runs her fingers over his cheeks like a baby. She smiles, all done. Starts to dab the last bits of soap away. Paul asks her when he thinks the phones will be back up. And she says it should be too much longer. Once the roads are open, it won't be too much longer, Paul. Could I ask you a favor? I noticed in your case there was a new Paul Sheldon book, and I wonder if maybe you want to read it? If you wouldn't mind. I have a hard and fast rule about who can read my stuff at this early stage. Only my editor, my agent, and anyone who saves me from freezing to death in a car wreck. Oh, Paul, you'll never realize what a rare treat you've given me. We cut to Paul, his eyes closed briefly. He grimaces. We cut to Annie, watching him, concerned. She glances at her watch. Boy, it's like clockwork. The way your pain comes, I'll get you your novel. Paul, I've just got to be sure you got it every 4 hours on the dot. Forgive me for prattling away and making you feel all oogie. She turns and hurries out of the room. We cut to Paul watching her. She leaves the room but doesn't go far outside. Annie says, "What's your new book called?" "I don't have a title yet." "What's it about?" "Why don't you read it and tell me what you think it's about?" We cut to a spoon filled to the brim with beef barley soup. Paul lies in bed. Sun comes in the lone window. Annie sits on the bed, a large bowl of soup in her hands, feeding him. Paul, I know I'm only 40 pages into your book, but what? Nothing. No, what is it? Oh, it's ridiculous. Who am I to make a criticism of someone like you? I can take it, go ahead. Well, it's brilliantly written, but then everything you write is brilliant. Pretty rough criticism so far. The swearing, Paul, there I said it. The profanity bothers you? It has no nobility, Paul. Well, these are slum kids. I was a slum kid. Everybody talks like that. We cut to Annie. She holds the soup bowl in one hand. The muddy-colored beef barely soup close to spilling. They do not, Paul. What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? Now, Tony, give me a big bag of that effing pig feed and 10 pounds of that bitchy cow corn. We cut to Paul, bemused by this. The soup almost spilling as she gets louder. Suddenly, she's agitated. And in the bank, do I tell Mrs. Bollinger, here's one big bastard of a check. Give me some of your christening money. Paul's almost laughing as a stream of soup hits his coverlet. She spills the soup. There, look there. Do. Paul's smile disappears. We cut to Annie, and she is just totally embarrassed, almost blushing. She's almost like a school kid, and suddenly very appealing. Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have this terrible temper. We cut to Paul as Annie watches him. He nods, but something else is also clear. His pain has him. Oh, Paul, please forgive me. She reaches quickly into a pocket, takes out a novel here, gives him the pills and some water. You're the last person in the world I want to see suffer. Annie, she makes the sweetest smile. I love you, Paul. Your mind, your creativity. That's all I meant. Flustered, she turns away. We cut to a road in the mountains. Piles of snow all around, but it's been plowed enough so it's drivable. The drawing of Misery Chastain we've seen already. The low-cut peasant blouse, the impossibly inviting look on her face. We pull back to reveal Paul, eyes fluttering awake to see the hardback copy of his novel, Misery's Child, in Annie's hands. She's never been more excited. They had it in the store, Paul. There was a whole batch of them there. As soon as I saw it, I slammed my money down. I think I got the first copy. Then the roads are open. The one in town is. That's about it. I called the hospital and talked to the head orthopedic surgeon. I told him who you were and what had happened. He said as long as there's no infection, you're not in any danger. As soon as the road to the hospital is open, they'll send an ambulance for you. The phones are working? Well, mine's still out. The ones in town were working just fine. I called that agent of yours and told him you were okay. Oh, Paul, I peeked at the very beginning. What a wonderful first page. Just to read the name Misery Chastain. Paul says he has to call his kids, and my sister must be going nuts. And he says, it's like a visit from my oldest, dearest friend. Paul, I was supposed to stop and see her in Chicago 5 days ago. And he tells him, the agent said he would tell everyone you were okay, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait until tomorrow if you want to speak to anyone yourself. Now try and get some rest. She starts to leave and stops at the door. She looks at him now with almost a look of wonderment. Oh, Paul, what a poet you are. We dissolve to Paul, watching as she enters, moves to him carrying a tray. I made you my specialty, scrambled eggs a la Wilkes, and I'm on page 105. Paul says he guesses it means it's okay. No, it isn't. It's, oh, Pooh, I can't think of any words. Would great be insulting? I can live with that. No, Paul, it's just great. It's perfect. Perfect thing. We cut to the interior of Paul's room in the mid-afternoon. Annie is clearing Paul's tray. She hands him his novel. He quickly swallows the pills. Paul, I'm up to page 185. I always get sad when I pass the halfway point. Will you do me a favor? I'd love if you would autograph my copy. I already have your autograph on a picture. I got it through your fan club. But it would mean so much to me in person. I know you're right-handed, so don't worry if it's not so legible. I'll cherish it anyway. As Paul signs the book, Annie says, I don't mean to pry, but I read in 2 magazines now where you were seeing this model who does those disgusting jeans commercials. And I said it can't be true. Paul Sheldon would never waste his time with a trampy woman like that. Well, you can't believe everything you hear, Annie. I knew it wasn't true. Well, how did they get away with printing stuff like that? You'd be amazed at what some people will believe, Annie. He finishes the autograph, hands the book back to her. Thank you so much. My pleasure. We dissolve to the window, late afternoon sunlight. The door, it opens, and guess what? A sow lumbers in. We cut to Paul, kind of stunned as the female pig skitters its way around the room. Excited, confused, slipping and sliding. Annie's all smiles and happiness, laughing in the doorway. I thought it was time you two should meet. Pa, say hello to my favorite beast in all the world, my sow, Misery. Misery? The pigs sorting around the room. We cut to Paul and Annie watching. Yes, I told you I was your #1 fan. I'm getting to believe you. This farm was kind of dreary. Well, just a few cows and chickens and me. But when I got Misery here, everything changed. She just makes me smile so. Annie scoops up the pig, holding it tight as she stands by Paul. I'm on page 300 now, Paul, and it's better than perfect. It's divine. What's the ceiling that Dago painted? The Sistine Chapel. Yeah, and that's Misery's child. Those are the only two divine things ever in this world. Paul watches as the pig skitters out the room with Annie in pursuit. We fade down to the window at dusk. Annie's voice is heard softly. When my husband left me, I wasn't prepared. It wasn't an easy time. Pull back to reveal Annie standing staring out the window, her back to the room. In bed, Paul is dealing with a bedpan, peeing. For a while, I thought I might go crazy. I know how that can be. My last wife left me too. I don't know about you, but what I did to get through, it was I dove into the world, days, nights. Night shifts can be lonely at a hospital. That was when I first found Misery. She made me so happy. She made me forget all my problems. Of course, I suppose you had a little something to do with that. Yeah, well, I just kept reading them over and over. I know when I finish this one, I only got 2 chapters to go. I'll just turn right into the first page and start reading it again. That, and we cut to moon. Oozing, but now his flake has cut to the door. It opens and Annie enters, comes to his bedside. It's hard to see. Paul squints up. close up on Annie, her face ashen red. The cords in her neck stand out. One vein pulses uncontrollably in the center of her forehead. She brings her hands up to her face. They're rock-like fists. They open, close. You dirty bastard. She can't be dead. Misery Chastain cannot be dead. Annie, listen. Oh, you dirty birdie. How could you? Annie, in 1871, women often died in childbirth. But her spirit is the important thing, and Misery's spirit is still alive. I don't want her spirit. I want her. And you murdered her. I did. Then who did? No one, Annie. She just died. She slipped away, that's all. We cut to Annie. Again, her fists are rocks, and they're raised high, and they could come crashing down on his crippled form, but then at the last moment, she turns with a cry, picks up a metal pitcher, and starts repeatedly slamming it against the wall, screaming, "No, no." Paul watching, helpless to do anything but that. Cut to Annie, her back to him. She stops, taking great, gasping breaths. Then finally she turns, head on her chest like some powerful red-eyed bull. And wordlessly, she advances across the room until she hovers right on top of him. And he could be dead in a blink. And you can tell that from her eyes. I thought you were good, Paul. But you're not good. You're just another lying old dirty birdie, and I don't think I can better be around you for a while. And you can forget about using the phone. And don't worry about any doctors coming out here either. At the door, she turns. You're not going to call anybody or see anybody. Goodbye, Paul. Paul watches as she closes the door behind her. Then, for the first time, the rattle of a key as she locks it. We'll take a little 2-minute intervention, you guys. I'll take a quick break. Benny, ska. Heavy metal chef. Heavy metal chef. Shannon Shack. Shannon Shack. Jenny 8675309. Check. Mother Nature. Mother Nature. Mother Nature. Mother Nature. Deborah Orrod. Good afternoon, host. A little fish in the kitchen. Ska, 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 little fish, ska, 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 ska. Check, little fish, check. Sagenta. Sagenta. BC Treasure Trails. BC Treasure Trails. Susie Valentin Realtor. Benny Loco, you're right on time. Infinite Psychosis. Ska, 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 ska. Ska, 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 Shannon Shack, ska, 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 check, 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 check. Test, Mother Nature, test, test. You got your earbuds in, Mother Nature. Ska, 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 ska. Ska, 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 ska. Ska, 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 ska. Ska, 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 ska. You guys give a big shout out for Angela Critters. I don't see her in chat here tonight, but please put word out to her that we're thinking about her. Kosha Shavid. Kosha Shavid. Sagenta. 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 Ska, 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 ska. Test, Mother Nature, test. Test, 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 test. Ska, 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 ska. You guys ready? We cut to the rooms. Check. Ska, ska, ska. Oh, this chair. I'm gonna get a new chair. That pop and creak. Thank goodness for editing software. As we cut to the window of darkness. Paul lies still. He takes a deep breath and then begins his greatest effort of wall to force his body out of bed to make a move. He's still weak from what he's endured, but that's not the main thing, it's the pain. Any attempt at movement and his legs scream. He sags back, lies there still a moment. Slowly he tries to maneuver his body off the bed. He rolls over onto his stomach, then tries to lower himself onto the floor by moving down his head first. His good arm hits the floor, and he is able to hold himself up, but realizing there is no way to get out of bed without causing tremendous pain. He girds himself and flings himself out of bed and comes crashing to the floor. The pain is excruciating. After he regains his composure, he slowly crawls toward the door. He reaches up and tries for the handle. It is in fact locked. He awkwardly tries to slam up against the door, but it is much too painful and to no avail. Crawls over to the window, pulls himself up to the sill, and for the first time is able to look out. We see what he sees. He's way too far off the ground to risk jumping. Slumps back to the floor. Check. We dissolve to Paul in close up in the day. He is wrapped in the blanket from the bed. A tremor hits him. He manages a few deep breaths. Paul's room at night. We cut to Paul. He's lying on the floor by the side of the bed. He looks dead. His eyes are half closed, skin the color of snow. The withdrawal has ripped him apart. He has not eaten or drunk anything in almost 2 days. His lips are chapped and dry and swollen. He makes occasional sounds. He could be entering delirium. He is a devastated, wounded creature. The room as it snaps back into focus. It is the next morning. Annie is standing by the bed, holding a tray of food. She wears a dark blue dress and a hat with a sprig of flowers. Her eyes are bright and vivacious. The fact is, this is the prettiest Annie Wilkes has ever looked. Paul, what are you doing on the floor? I need water. She puts down the tray and helps Paul back to bed. It's not my fault. If I had a proper hospital bed, this would never have happened. There you go, Comfy. You must be so hungry. Water, Paul says. Annie understands, and she'll give you everything you want. But you must listen first. Sometimes my thinking is a little muddy. I accept that. It's what I couldn't remember all those things they were asking me about in Denver when they put me on the witness stand. Now she turns, goes to the doorway, keeping on talking. She's never out of sight. But this time, I thought clearly. I asked God about you, and God said, I have spared him so you may show him the way. Annie, please. I'll give you food and water, and I'll give you your novel too. But first there's something you must do. She's wheeling something toward his bed. It's a charcoal barbecue, the kind you use in the summer for cooking hamburgers. She holds several items in her arms, a box of diamond blue-tip wooden matches, a can of lighter fluid, and most noticeably, Paul's manuscript. We cut to Paul. His eyes are half shut. We cut to Annie and Paul. He watches, mute, as she takes off the grill, puts the manuscript in the barbecue itself where the charcoal goes, spritzes it with lighter fluid, hands him the box of matches. The grill's close enough to the bed for him to reach out and drop a match. We cut to Annie looking at him. You must rid the world of this filth, Paul. I know this may not be an easy thing for you, but it's for the best. You want me to burn my book? It's the only way, Paul. We cut to Paul. Fine, it's no big deal, but I gotta tell you, you're not ridding the world of anything. In fact, my agent, he made dozens of copies of this. And every publishing house in New York is reading it now. We cut to Annie watching him. Then light the match, Paul. No big deal. So you've indicated to it. Paul's hands are starting to tremble now. He can't do it. I know this is the only copy, Paul. When you were 24, you wrote your first book, and you didn't make a copy because you didn't think anybody would take it seriously. But they did. And ever since you've never made any copies because you're superstitious, it's why you've always come back to the Sidewinder Lodge. You told that story to Merv Griffin 11 years ago. This book will never have survived without you. When it gets to New York, there will be a big auction, and whatever it brings, we can split. God knows you've entitled to it. Cut to Annie. Close up. A long pause. Then 2 words. Dirty money. I won't do it, Annie. Fine, if you get hungry, let me know. We cut to Paul staring at her as she heads for the door. We dissolve to Paul's room at dusk. Annie re-enters with a dustpan and broom. This place is just a shambles. What if company comes and found it looking like this? Can't have that. Paul sits in silence. I'll be out of your way before you know it. We cut to Annie, sweeping the floor, humming away. Finally, Paul lets out a groaning sigh. Annie says, "Did you say something?" He just stares at her. Guess not. She turns and goes merrily out the door. Paul's lying in bed, too weak to move. He just lies quietly. After a few beats, we hear strains of TV game show theme music. These sounds are not surprising. Paul has heard them before. We dissolve down to Paul's room at night. Cutting to the interior of Annie's room at night. It is much smaller than Paul's and filled with religious bric-a-brac. Pictures of Paul Sheldon and a TV on a portable stand. Annie lies in bed under the covers with an open bag of Cheetos resting on her stomach and a big quart-sized plastic bottle of Coke. As she munches away, she is heavily engrossed in her favorite TV show, The Love Connection. Staring out the window. I guess you don't get bothered by neighbors much. Don't you worry about that. You'll have your total solitude and you can concentrate on your work, Paul. We cut to Annie in the doorway carrying reams of typing paper, pencils, pens, and sharpeners. Paul's watching her. It's all kind of amazing. She hands him a box of typing paper. "Oh, Paul, I got you this expensive typing paper." Paul's complaining that the paper will smudge. He glances over to her, starts to smile, and suddenly the smile disappears. We cut to Annie close up, and the charm is a million miles away. Yeah. We cut to Paul trying to move, but he's trapped as we see Annie coming toward him, arms raised high, holding the ream of typing paper over her head. We cut to Paul's knees as the paper comes crashing down on them, and we cut to Paul as he is jackknifed half out of the chair. We cut to Annie glowering over him. Annie taking a step toward the window, stopping for a moment. For the first time, there's a worried look, because the sound we're hearing is a motor, a helicopter motor, and it's getting louder. Annie goes to the window, looks toward the skies. We cut to a helicopter flying along. We cut to Paul, listening as the motor sound recedes. The hope that was in his eyes isn't there now. Annie turns to look at him, smiles, wheels the barbecue out of the door, and stops. We cut to Annie, and she's pushing something, and for a minute we think it might be a wheelchair, and we realize it is a wheelchair. Oh, clumsy me, I didn't mean to wake you, but I think it's time for you to start moving around a bit. Here, let me help you. Now your legs are going to feel like they're on fire, but only for a little. Can you stand it? She hands him some pills. Here, you just sit tight. I'll set everything up. Annie exits. Paul quickly shoves the Novril under the mattress. Set what up? Paul says. Your new studio. After all, writers do need a place to work. Work? You mean write? What in the world do you think I'd write? Annie re-enters carrying an old-fashioned black manual typewriter. Oh, but Paul, I don't think, I know. Now that you've got rid of that nasty book, you can go back to doing what you're great at. I got this typewriter for you and everything. You're going to write a new novel, your greatest achievement ever. Misery Returns. Paul is stunned. He just blinks up at her. Misery's Return. I know you didn't mean it when you killed her, and now you'll make it right. We cut to Annie close up in almost religious fervor. Yes, and it would be a book in my honor, saving your life and nursing you back to health. I'll be the first one to read it. Oh, Paul, you're going to make me the envy of the whole world. You just expect me to whip something up, that it? I expect nothing less of your masterpiece, Paul. You do understand this isn't the ordinary way books get written. I mean, some people might actually consider this an oddball situation. I have total confidence in your brilliance, Paul. Besides, the view will inspire you. We cut to the window as the wheelchair approaches. This is the first time Paul has seen where he is. The sky is innocent of clouds. There's a green forest climbing the flank of the nearest mountain. Staring out the window. Annie in the doorway, carrying reams of typing paper. Cut down to the keyhole. There is a loud clicking sound. The door, as Paul turns the knob, the door opens a crack. What do you know? Paul trying to get out of the room, but it's a bitch because in order to get back the lock, he has to move the wheelchair up to the door in order to get out. He's got to maneuver it out of the way of the door, and every turn of the chair's wheels in an effort for him. He works at it and works at it, but his energy is failing him. He's pale, perspiring. Finally, he succeeds, barely forces his way into the hall. Looking around for a phone, but not seeing one. He wheels himself over to the front door, tries it. It's locked from the outside. He looks around for a phone to doesn't see one. And there it is. Paul wheeling into the living room. Dark red predominates. It's a musty room. Over the mantel, a forbidding photograph of an older woman who resembles Annie. Clearly her mother. The phone closer and we cut to Paul, energy all but gone, but he forces himself on. And we cut to the phone as Paul at last grabs for it. Gets it, punches the operator button. Operator. Nothing. Shit. He shakes the phone, shakes it again, then begins to twist off the earpiece. We cut to the phone and it's empty inside. It's useless. Just a shell. Paul sags in disappointment. Cut to a small table with little ceramic doodads on top. Wheelchair hits it. One of the doodads topples. It's a penguin, fragile looking, and it's about to fall to the floor and shatter. He grabs it, catches it, puts it back where it was. Paul approaching the kitchen, he stops at the kitchen door, realizes the wheelchair won't fit. He stares into the room and notices the windows are also barred. There is a door at the far end of the kitchen leading to the outside. In order to get to it, he must get out of his wheelchair and crawl along the floor, which he does. To no one's surprise, this door is also locked. Crawls on over to the bank of 3 drawers with cupboards underneath. Checks the cupboards and discovers bags of Cheetos. This time fingers graze a knife handle. What's more, as he falls back, this time his head crashes against the side of the butcher block table and knocks him unconscious. We cut to Annie walking to the back of the Jeep. Cut to Paul getting back into the wheelchair. Annie reaching back inside the car, lifting out several large rectangular boxes of paper. Paul's forced in the wheelchair and moving now. We're into a race. A crazed life and death race that gets cuts go fast. Annie balancing the bundles under her chin as she jiggles the key out the front door lock. We cut to Paul, soaked in sweat. He's done willed himself over to exactly where he was when she left him. He at last allows himself a sigh of relief. Looks down, gasps as we cut to Paul's waistband. Half dozen Slim Jims, ominously sticking out. We cut to the door as the sound of the lock clicking is heard. Annie in voiceover. Just the kind you asked for, Paul. We cut to Paul as his hands quickly check. We cut to Paul as his hands quickly shove the Slim Jims into his sweatpants. As he pulls out his hands, one Slim Jim flies out and lands in his lap. As the door swings open, he quickly covers it with his hand. Annie in the doorway, a strange look on her face. Paul, you're dripping with sweat. What have you been doing? Did Jane fund the workout? You know what I've been doing. I've been sitting here suffering. I need my pills. Poor dear. I'll just put you back in your bed and then I'll get them for you. I want my pills now, Annie. It'll only take a second. I want my pain to go away, Annie. Make it go away, please, Annie. Annie stares at him, then turns, starts for the door. It just breaks my heart to see you like this. Annie enters the room, the novel in her hand. She is genuinely contrite. Now I'm absolutely convinced that the main reason I've never been more popular is because of my temper. You must be so mad at me. The truth now. She hands him the pills. Okay, I'll admit I was for a minute there, but I learned a long time ago that it doesn't do any good to hold a grudge. Besides, who doesn't let off a little steam once in a while? Cut to Paul, swallows the pills as she picks him up from the chair, puts him gently down in bed. My genius needs his beauty sleep before he writes. She hands him a pad and a pencil. Here, in case you think of any ideas. Yeah, well, I wouldn't expect too much. Don't be silly, Paul. You'll be brilliant. Think of me as your inspiration. Paul's done talked her into going to get him some more paper. Meanwhile, we cut to the bobby pin. Paul reaches for it. The pain has him. He reaches again, involuntarily cries out, but he grabs it and clutches it tight. We cut to the cut to the keyhole. Paul's trying to jimmy the lock a second time. To no avail. Then there's a loud clicking sound. The door opens as Paul What have I done? Just gotta check everybody. Thank God for the edit. I think I botched some of this stuff. The typewriter, the window is visible behind it. From this angle, it almost seems to be staring at Paul, broken and all. Paul tests his wounded arm. He's able to raise it a few inches, but that's about it. We cut to outside the window where Annie is visibly heading for the barn. For a moment she stops, turns to look back, calling out, "Don't be nervous. Just remember, I'll treasure whatever you do." Paul studies the paper. He takes it out, starts to roll in a new sheet, stares at the blank page, taking deep breaths, glancing outside, then back to the paper. Now there's a brief light behind his eyes, and suddenly he types a burst, stares at what he's written. Closes his eyes briefly, mutters something, kind of nods, opens his eyes, grabs for another piece of paper. We pull back to reveal Paul working in his room. Annie stands alongside. The first pages of the manuscript in her hands. It's later in the afternoon. "No, sorry, Paul. This is all wrong. You'll have to do it over again." "What?" "Paul, it's not worthy of you. Throw it all out except for the part of naming that gravedigger after me. You can leave that in." "I really value your criticism, Annie, but maybe you're being a little hasty here. there are some subtle nuances that you may not have picked up on. We cut to Annie dropping to her knees beside him. She's suddenly like a small child. Oh, Paul, what you've written just isn't fair. Not fair? That's right. When I was growing up in Bakersfield, my favorite thing in all the world was to go to the movies on Saturday afternoon for the chapter plays. Cliffhangers. I know that, Mr. Man. They also called them serials. I'm not stupid, you know. Anyway, my favorite was Rocket Man. Paul staring at her as she realizes she's been called up. She almost blushes, speaks quietly. They always cheat like that. But not you. Not with my misery. Remember, N did ride for Dr. Cleary at the end of the last book, but his horse fell jumping that fence and N broke his shoulder and his ribs and lay there all night in the ditch. So he never reached the doctor, so there couldn't have been any experimental blood transfusion that saved her life. Misery was buried in the ground at the end, Paul. So you'll have to start there. Paul slumped, staring balefully at the typewriter. What's the matter, Paul? You haven't written a word. I can't write this shit anymore, Annie. Don't be silly. Of course you can. I'm telling you I can. You can. You have the gotta. The what? The gotta. You talked about it in Playboy magazine, remember? You said there's a million things you can do in this world. You can't hit a curveball. You can't fix a leaky faucet or make a marriage work. There's one thing you always have, and that's the power of the gotta. You talked about how you can make a woman say, I know he'll be here in a minute and he'll be furious if I'm not dressed yet, but I've gotta see how this chapter comes out. You said you can make a newlywed say, I know she's waiting in bed for me, but I've gotta see how this ends. I gotta know, will she live? I gotta know, will he catch the killer who murdered his father? You said you can make it, so they gotta turn the page. You said it. I don't usually buy that magazine. I only got it because they were interviewing you. We cut to Paul, close up, blinking. What about a bee? What? Nothing. The keyboard, as the piece of paper slides in and the keys start to move, Annie stands there for a moment, then kind of backs out of the room. Dissolved to the window. It's a different time of day. Pull back to Reveal. Paul in the wheelchair watching as Annie finishes reading. Well, it isn't fair. Shall I go on? I'll kill you if you don't. No, She impulsively kisses him on the cheek. Oh, Paul, when I realized that the reason they buried Misery alive was because the bee sting had put her in that temporary coma, we cut to Annie in a fervor. And when Gravedigger Wilkes remembered how 30 years earlier the same thing happened to Lady Evelyn Hyde, and then old Dr. Cleary deduced that Misery must be Lady Evelyn Hyde's long-lost daughter because of the rarity of deadly bee stings, my heart just leapt. Paul's watching her. It's as if she's nothing to do with anything she's read as she goes on. I've known from the very first book that Misery had to be born of nobility, and I was right. That's interesting, since I didn't know it until this afternoon. What? I'm glad you like it. Quick little break, guys. Sagenda, Sagenda, ska, 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 ska. Heavy metal chef, ladies and gentlemen. Check heavy metal. Mother Nature. Benny Loco. Ska, Benny, ska, 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 ska. Benny Loco. Mr. Sob. Mr. Sob. Check Mr. Sob. Ska, 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 ska. Camo Liana Rose. Camo Liana Rose. You have that quiet voice. Sweet as sugar. Sweet as sugar. Sweet as sugar. It's just the best author ever that reads his own books to his audience, Mr. Sob. Desmond Knox. Desmond Knox. Desmond Knox. Desmond Knox. Ska Desmond ska 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 Desmond ska 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 ska. There he is, Dagon Hills. Dagon Hills. You guys make sure to check out our last production of The Confession by Dagon Hills. That's right, Mr. Sock. We keep rolling, guys. Test, Koshoff, test, 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 test. Roxanne, that big happy smiley face. Sunny Stormy, 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 Sunny Stormy. Ska, 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 ska. Buggy's mama, Bucky's mama Tammy, Bucky's mama Tammy. Hey Buggy. Check, Buggy, check. We cut to Annie, spinning around the room like a happy child. I'm so happy she's alive. Check. I'm so happy she's alive. It's so romantic. This whole house is going to be filled with romance. I'm going to put on my Liberace records. She stops and looks at Paul. You do like Liberace, don't you? Whenever he played Radio City, guess who was right there in the front row? I'm going to play my records for you all day long to inspire you. He's my all-time favorite. And with that, she starts to leave. Annie, would you have dinner with me tonight? She can't speak. To celebrate Misery's return, I couldn't have done it without you. Oh, Paul. Oh, Paul, it would be an honor. Annie dashes excitedly out of the room. Paul listens in quiet agony, as in a moment the sound of Liberace playing Tammy. Jesus Christ. We cut down to the interior of the study. It's at night. Paul's sitting at a table that Annie has set up with her best china and silverware. It's as romantic as Annie Wilkes gets. Annie enters, carrying a basket of rolls. She sits and serves Paul. I hope you like it. It looks wonderful. It's nothing fancy. Sometimes the simplest meals can be the best. They eat in awkward silence. Finally, Paul says, "This is really very good. I never had meatloaf this good. My secret is if I use fresh tomatoes, never canned. And to give it a livelier flavor, I mix it in some Spam with the ground beef. Oh, it's good. Annie, I think we should have a toast." A toast? Yes, to Misery. Can I pour you some wine? Oh, yes, thank you. Paul pours 2 glasses of Gallo wine and raises his glass. Wait, let's do this right. Do you have any candles? I don't know. I think so. I'll go look. She exits the kitchen. Paul quickly pulls something out of his pants. It's the packet filled with the narrate powder. He empties it into her glass of wine, stuffs the empty packet back into his pants, talking the whole time. I really like the way you've done this room. Thank you, but it's just things I've picked up over the years. Well, it all came together real quick. Check. Well, it all came together quite nicely. Well, thank you. If you can't find any, it's okay. I just thought it might be nice. Annie re-enters with 2 candles. Are you kidding? If anyone ever told me that one day I'd be having a candlelit dinner with Paul Sheldon in my own house, I would have checked both legs to see which one was being pulled. Well, these two, they're perfect. She places the candles on the table. With a slight tremor in her hand, she lights the candles. Paul raises his glass. To Misery and to Annie Wilkes, who brought her back to life. Annie raises her glass. Oh, Paul. Every time I think about it, I get goosebumps. They clean glasses. She goes to drink and stops. The very thought that I could have anything to do with Misery fills me with such joy. In my whole life, I've never been this happy. Her hand shakes, and before she can take a sip, the glass slides out of her hand and spills on the table. Oh God, what have I done? I'm so sorry, Paul. I ruined your beautiful toast. Will you ever forgive me? Here, let me pour you another one. Can we pretend this never happened to Misery? To Misery. So they drink their wine. And we cut to the exterior of the farmhouse in the day. The snow, although still present, has melted somewhat. Paul's at the typewriter. The manuscript has grown. Then he hears footsteps coming down the hallway. Paul, this is the best Misery you've ever written. I think you're right. Tell me, the stranger staying at the inn, he's someone from Misery's past, am I right? You'll find out. This is so exciting, Paul. She scurries out. Outside lightning, giant deep rolls of thunder and rain. We cut to Annie lumbering in. She's never looked like this. She's wearing her slippers and her pink quilted housecoat. Her eyes are out without life. Her hair, loose and scraggly, hangs around her face, slowly like a robot. She goes to Paul, who looks silently up at her. Here's your pills. She drops them into his lap. We cut to Paul as the pills hit his chest, bouncing to his lap. Annie, what is it? She half turns away, turns back, gestures outside. The rain, sometimes it gives me the blues. We cut to Annie, close up. And suddenly it's as if she's been turned off, gone lifeless. Paul stares at her, no sound but the rain. No light in her eyes. She oddly raises her hand to her mouth and pinches her lower lip between her thumb and first finger. Annie, are you all right? As she turns her head to Paul, we see that the pinching has caused her lip to bleed. She doesn't seem to notice. So blood runs down her chin. She slowly reaches into the pocket of her bathrobe and pulls out a .38 special and points it at Paul. I have this gun. Sometimes I think about using it. But if I did something to you, that would be the end of misery. Then I would have to do something to myself. Misery. That's all that's keeping us alive. I have to go away now. Robot-like, she crosses through the door and leaves. As she closes and locks the door, we cut to Paul, stunned, listening, waiting. The sound of the front door closing, then footsteps on the outside walk. The sound of a car door opening and slamming shut. Now comes the gunning of the motor. Cut to the kitchen drawer being pulled open. It's filled with knives. Paul reaches in with his good hand, grabs a knife. He has a thin, sharp blade with a fat handle. It's lethal looking. Paul wheeling his way into the study. Dark red still predominates, but now the room is a zoo. Dirty dishes stacked all around and remnants of all kinds of food, mostly sweet things. Plates with most of the cake devoured. Ice cream containers on the floor. Empty 2-liter bottles of Coke. Bowls and plates, but no cutlery. Drying drips and splashes on the couch and on the rug. We cut down to a coffee table with a book on it. It's entitled Memory Lane. It's a large scrapbook, next to which is a copy of Newsweek. A roll of Scotch tape and a pair of scissors. Paul opening the book, which is as big as a folio Shakespeare play and as thick as a family Bible. The rain, which has been going on continually while he's been out, shows no signs of letting up. The thunder is loud as ever. We cut to the first page of the book as Paul opens it. It's a newspaper clipping, as if almost off what follows. A small article. Simply a birth announcement for Anne Marie Wilkes. Paul turns the page. The headline Bakersfield accountant Carl Wilkes dies in freak fall. USC nursing student dies in freak fall. Next headline. Now Miss Wilkes is a nursing school honors graduate. Paul turns the page. Manchester, New Hampshire, Union leader Ernest Conyers, 79, dies after long illness. Now that phrase seems to be what catches our eye. After long illness is from the next article. Long illness from the one after that. Then on the next page, a variation, short illness. Now we're in Pennsylvania, new hospital staff announced. Here comes those phrases again on page after page. After long illness, after long illness, after long illness. We cut to Paul, transfixed. He keeps on turning the pages, unmindful of the thunder blast. Now we're in Colorado, a new head maternity nurse named. Now the dead are young and helpless babies, more and more of them. Paul is stunned. Cries. Head maternity nurse questioning infant deaths. Miss Wilkes released. 3 more infants die. Dragon lady arrested. In a photo, the front page of a Rocky Mountain News. Annie on the courthouse steps. Dragon lady claims innocence. Quickly turns to the next page in very large headline. Dragon lady found not guilty. Check. Dragon lady found not guilty. Under which there is a statement from Annie Wilkes. Paul just sits there, shaking his head in bewilderment. Then he turns the page one final time, stares as we cut to the Newsweek transition column. And a photograph of his Mustang being hoisted up into the air, and a headline that reads, "Presumed Dead, Paul Sheldon." He's devastated. He takes a breath. The next day, Annie, she's standing in the room. She looks very together. Her eyes are bright, too bright. She comes to the foot of his bed. Paul, groggy from being drugged, tries to clear the cobwebs. When you first came here, I only loved the writer part of Sheldon. But I've come to realize I love the rest of him too, as much as misery loves Ian. I know you don't love me yet. Don't say you do. I mean, you're a beautiful, brilliant, famous man of the world, and I'm not a movie star type. Face it, Paul, I'm not every man's cup of tea. You see, They'll never know the fear of losing someone like you if you're someone like me. Why would you lose me? Your legs are getting better. Soon you'll be able to walk. What if you tried to get out of here when I was gone? Why would I try to get out? I don't know. I wouldn't. There's a pause. Now a soft voice. Paul, I know you've been out. I haven't. Annie doesn't respond. I swear on my mother's grave, Annie. In the first place, your mother's still alive. She lives in Fort Lauderdale. In the second place, my little ceramic penguin in the living room always faces due south. I don't know what you're talking about. Cut to Annie. Paul's looking up at her. He's totally honest and sincere as he talks. His hand surreptitiously begins to move toward the mattress edge. I haven't been out. How could I get out? You lock the door every time you leave. Besides, I have no reason to get out. A cut to Annie. She brings the fat-handled knife out of her skirt pocket. Suddenly fires it at the wall and now a thump comes from the foot of the bed. Something is out of sight. Paul's staring at her, waiting. Paul, last night it came so clear. Do you know about the early days at the Kimberly Diamond Mine? Do you know what they did to the native workers who stole diamonds? Don't worry, they didn't kill them. She picks up a 16-inch piece of 4x4 wood and wedges it firmly between his legs, just above the ankles. That would be like junking a Mercedes just because it had a broken spring. No, if they caught them, they had to make sure they couldn't go on working, but also had to make sure they could never run away. The operation was called hobbling, Paul. Oh, Angela Critters, we cut to Annie. As she walks slowly back to the foot of the bed. Angela Critters. My darling. We cut to Annie as she walks slowly back to the foot of the bed. I figured out a way you'll never run. And with that, she reaches down out of sight and comes up holding a sledgehammer. We cut down to Paul. I never had any intention of running away. Annie making the 4x4 secure, adjusting Paul's feet. Annie, I admit that I'd never been out, but I wasn't planning to run away. Now don't fuss. I like it here, Annie. Annie positions herself to the side of his right ankle. I want what you want, Annie. Just the two of us together. Shh, darling. Trust me. She takes aim at his ankle. Me riding you taking care of me, Annie. It's for the best, Paul. She takes the sledgehammer back. Annie, for God's sake, please. As Annie swings, the sledgehammer makes contact with the ankle. It breaks with a sharp crack. Paul, close up, shrieking, cutting Annie, moving to the other side of the bed. Almost done. Just one more. And she breaks the other ankle. Paul shrieks even louder. We close on Annie, who says, God, I love you. Paul's face, he is beyond agony as we fade to black. For a long moment, nothing but then a faint sound. After a moment, it begins to become more intrusive, and we can tell what it is, a car horn honking. The headline reads, Nurse Annie Wilkes acquitted. A while later, Paul, staring absently out the window, both his ankles are set in splints. We cut down to Annie carrying a bag of feed coming into view. She slows, smiles, waves. Hey, pumpkin. Paul just stares at her. Annie said, give us a smile. Such a kidder. Paul lifts the typewriter, repeatedly raising it over his head, this time without any difficulty. cut down to Annie entering Paul's room. He lies back in the wheelchair, eyes closed. From the start, his tone is different. Strong, he's in control. Paul, don't you think it's time for you to start writing again? It's been almost a week. I don't know, it's weird. But a couple of broken bones hasn't done a whole lot for my creative juices. Get the fuck out of here. Don't talk to me like that. Why, what are you going to do? Kill me? Take your best shot. Why are you so mean? Mister, you'd be dead in the snow if it wasn't for me. No reason. You keep me as prisoner. You starve me, you drive a sledgehammer into my ankles. I'll drive a sledgehammer into your mind. Check. I'll drive a sledgehammer into your man gland if you're not nicer. Be my guest. That's disgusting. As she exits, he closes his eyes. Hold on, Paul. Then we dissolve to Paul's room as Annie enters, carrying a glass of lemonade. Liberace plays in the background. Paul is asleep. Paul, I think it's time we made up. But when you wake up, it'll make you feel all perky. Annie's standing there watching. Well, some of us have chores to do. Slug a bit. And she leaves the glass of lemonade. Paul sleeps deeply. Annie picking up a throw rug. She crosses to the front door, opens it, revealing Buster. Oh my. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. You didn't give me a chance to knock. I guess you can tell from my reaction I'm all that used to visitors out here. What can I do for you? I was just wondering if you happen to know anything about Paul Sheldon. What do you want to know? Anything you can tell me might help. We cut to Annie. The words pour out. Well, he was born in Worcester, Massachusetts, 42 years ago. The only child of Franklin and Helene Sheldon. Mediocre student, majored in history. We cut to Buster, watching her surprised. Excuse me, that's not exactly the kind of information I was after. You see, he's been missing for nearly a month. I know, it's so upsetting. I'm his #1 fan. I've got all his books, every sentence he ever put down. I'm so proud of my Paul Sheldon collection. Here I am prattling on my manners, just flown away. I haven't invited you in. Thank you. Annie lets Buster in, closes the door, crosses through to the living room to the study. Buster lingers in front of Paul's door, idly checking out the hallway. Annie says, "Of course you must know about that horrible accident." Buster nods. Almost killed me too. I prayed when I heard about the news. I got down on my knees, begged for it not to be true. so moved. You're going to laugh at me, what I'm about to say, but go ahead. I don't care. When I was praying, God told me to get ready. Cut to Buster, watching her. This isn't at all what he expected. Get ready for what, ma'am? We cut down to Paul. He's stirring in bed. Cut to Annie close up. To try and be his replacement, he gave me so much pleasure. So many people, and there's a shortage of pleasure on this planet these days. In case you hadn't noticed, I went to town. I bought me a typewriter. God told me since I was his #1 fan that I should make up new stories as if I was Paul Sheldon. I know how he wrote. I spent the last 3 weeks trying to write like Paul Sheldon wrote. But I can't do it right. I try and I try. I know all the words. But it's not the same. Buster just stands there, watches her. Well, maybe it takes time to get the hang of it. I could give you a couple 100 pages of mine and you could tell me what you think. I'm not much of a critic, man, but I'd be happy to give you my opinion. That would be great. Tell you what, I'll go fetch them and you can take them home and call me when you're finished. You wouldn't happen to have something to drink? Oh, look at me. You think I never had a house guest before? How about a nice glass of lemonade? Sounds good. She exits into the kitchen, lingers in the study for a beat, then goes into the hallway. Ma'am, it must get lonely living out here all by yourself. She spots the door to the cellar. He casually opens it and looks down into the cellar. I always say if you can't enjoy your own company, you're not fit for anyone else. You got a point there, man. Buster moves towards Annie as she crosses into the study. He gets only halfway down the hall when we hear the sound of glass breaking, coming from Paul's room. Buster stops, glances toward the study, and heads toward Paul's room. He gently opens the door, revealing a now awakened Paul Sheldon. The lemonade glass has shattered on the floor. Mr. Sheldon. And before Paul can answer, there's the sound of a loud explosion. Seemingly from nowhere, a hole is ripped through Buster's chest. For a beat, Buster just stares straight ahead, then drops out of frame, revealing Annie, smoking shotgun in hand, standing beside Buster. Now look at what you've gone and done. If you just kept quiet, he'd be alive and we wouldn't have his oogie mess on our hands. On Paul's reaction, we cut to the hallway outside the bedroom. Annie is pushing Paul in the wheelchair. Don't feel bad, Paul. He was a trespassing, nosy, dirty bird. He got what he deserved. Paul, and suddenly he twists around and his hands go for her throat. For a moment he has her, but it's an awkward position he's in, trying to turn his body around to face her, but for a moment his hands are free on exposed throat. And she rips free. Paul, as he starts to spin out of control down the stairs, and it's not a huge staircase. This isn't the Paris Opera House we're talking about, but it is a fall. Annie coming down a couple of stairs. I don't think I'll ever understand you. I cook your meals. I attend you practically 24 hours a day, and where's the thanks I get? You try to bite me? When are we going to develop a sense of trust? Now I have a lot to do. Annie at the top of the stairs, turning off the light. We hear the squealing of rats. Paul is alone. The only light comes through a single barred window. Footsteps. The door is unlocked. Paul, are you awake? The light is turned on and Annie is found at the top of the stairs. I have something important to tell you. You see, I've known for some time why I was chosen to save you. It's our destiny. You and I were meant to be together forever. But now our time in this world must end. That's why the sheriff died. It was a sign. Soon others will come. We must prepare for others. Don't worry, Paul. It won't hurt. It will be beautiful. With that, Annie turns and exits the cellar. Paul's mind races desperately. We cut to the table. One of the cans is lighter fluid. The idea hits him. Cut down to Annie, returning with a handgun and a hypodermic needle. No, don't be afraid, Paul. I love you. I know you do. I love you too, Annie. And you're right. We are meant to be together. I know we must die. But it must be so that misery can live. I must finish the book. We have the power to give misery eternal life. But the time is tonight, Paul. It will be tonight, I promise. I'll finish before dawn. Annie stares at him. She could go either way on this. Then, without a word, she turns and goes back up the stairs. We stay with Paul, listening for sounds. Annie returns, puts him in the wheelchair. Okay, Paul, I'll fix you something to eat. Paul's typing like a madman, totally concentrated on the white paper. His lips move, but he's not even aware of it. Annie enters quietly, holding a few pages. She carefully puts them back on the rest of the manuscript. Hands her another chapter that he's finished. 3 more chapters to go, Annie. She looks at him now in an almost enthralled way, whispering. The stranger at the end, it's Winthorn, his first love, isn't it? You'll know soon. Now he's back working again. We cut to Paul at night. He stops typing, rubs his eyes. Annie enters with coffee, more pages. And she's excited. It was Winthorn. What does that do to her love for Ian? Of course, if she hadn't thought Winthorn was murdered, she never would have met Ian in the first place. Paul glares at her. Sorry, this is so wonderful. I think so too, Annie. This will be our legacy. She starts to go. She says, Annie, we're almost done. I want everything to be perfect. When I finish, I need 3 things. Don't you think I know? 1 match, 1 cigarette, and 1 glass of champagne, Dom Perignon. He says, 2 glasses. Later that night, he's beginning to fade. Annie enters. She hands him back another patch of pages. She can't leave in now, not before the coronation. The last chapter's almost done, Annie. With that, she reaches into her pocket and pulls out a cigarette and match, places them on the table. You can get the champagne now. Crosses to the door, stops. Tell me at least who won the duel, Ian or Winthorn? It was Ian, right? You'll know everything in a minute. As she exits, Paul drops the manuscript to the floor, pulls the lighter fluid from his pants, and starts dousing the manuscript with lighter fluid. And he stops dead, frozen, as Paul is pouring lighter fluid on the last chapter. What are you doing? I'm done, Annie. Remember, for all those years, no one ever knew who Misery's real father was, or if they'd ever be reunited, or if Misery would ever marry Ian. Well, it's all right here. We cut to the match as he strikes it. Annie's screaming for him to stop. Stop. Oh, goodness. Thank God for the edit. Paul brings the match up to the last chapter. Annie moves forward. Not Misery, not my Misery. Drops the last chapter into the soaked manuscript and kaboom, burst into flames. Annie transfixed by the sight for a moment, and then she charges. cut to fire as Annie rushes to the bug, stoops down, grabs it with both hands, brings it burning up to her body, both arms across it, and Paul grabbing the typewriter, raising it high above his head, then throwing it down on her with all his power. Annie, screaming, driven to the floor by the blow, the book beneath her, and the flames fly up. Her sweater is starting to burn, and she's covered with shards of glass from the shattered bottle of champagne. And some of the manuscript is hissing. I'm going to kill you, you lying cocksucker. As she struggles to her feet and starts to move away from Paul, he quickly wheels the chair up to her and throws himself out of the chair, tackling her by the door. There on the floor. Flames still around him. Paul getting on top of her, grabs some burning pages, stuffs them into her mouth. Here, bitch, you want that? You can eat it. Sick, twisted fuck. She takes a step away from Paul, then another. The doorway upstairs. Paul's by a heavy metal base floor lamp as we cut to Annie's hand, grasping Paul's left calf, and we cut to Paul with a death grip on the door jamb. We cut to Annie pulling herself up his body, and we cut to Paul trying to buck her off, but he can, and we cut to Annie, the stronger, relentless, moving up on him, and we cut to Paul, his grip broken as he turns. We cut to Annie, all powerful, looming over him, and we cut to Paul, hitting up at her, and cut to Annie swelling, and the blood pouring down as she feels his blows. She doesn't show it, and we cut to Paul. Whatever energy he has left, he uses now, trying to twist and strike, and his body moves. We cut to the metal base floor lamp, and we cut to Paul, grabbing the thing, suddenly bringing it across the body, clobbering Annie in the face, and we cut to Annie, startled by the power of the blow, and for a moment she is stopped, and we cut to Paul. As with everything he has left, he crunches her forehead with a sharp, heavy metal base, just creams her as the air is forced out of her. We cut to Annie. The sounds that were roaring from her swollen black throat stop. Her eyes roll up into her head. For a moment, all we see are the whites. Then she collapses on Paul, a motionless mountain of slack flesh. We cut to Paul, scrambling free. We cut to the outside. That's the door as Paul crawls into view. He makes it to the corridor, reaches back, closes the door, and locks it. We cut to under the door. Annie's thick fingers appear. We cut to Paul, his back to the door. We cut to Annie's fingers, clutching out, clutching first at air, then grabbing the fabric of Paul's shirt, starting to pull, and we cut to Paul screaming again, flailing out at the fingers. He pounds at them, pounds with both hands. The fingers stop. Paul stares at the motionless things. He pushes at the thick fingers, shoving them back out of sight under the door. We cut to Paul collapsing, exhausted against the wall opposite the door. As we dissolve to two cops with guns drawn. It's the writer, the dead one. Right, I'm the dead one. Where's Sheriff McCain? He's dead. She killed him. Annie Wilkes? Yep, she's in there. I think she's dead. We cut to the older cop, taking the key to the room, unlocks the door, throws it open, and he steps inside. Looked around, glass and blood stains, charred remain of manuscript. Mr. Sheldon, there's no one in the room. We cut to Paul close up in shock. He's never looked this bad before. Hold for a long moment at this ledge appears. One year later, we dissolved to the pool room of the Four Seasons restaurant in Manhattan. Paul enters. He's never looked this good before. He's gained his weight back, his color is normal again. He walks with only a slight limp. He appears to be, for the first time in the movie, a Johnny Happy figure. Paul sits, begins unwrapping it. It's a book. A new one by Paul Sheldon, Childhood's End. There is a genuine sense of peace about him. He has been through the fire and survived. We cut to the dessert trolley and some waiters beside it a good distance away. We cut to Paul, gesturing for the trolley as a new waiter moves in, takes his cart. A new waitress, to be more precise. It's Amy. She begins to push the cart silently forward, and as she does, she reaches down, pulls out a very long and very sharp knife. We cut to Paul and Belle. I thought you were over it. Paul and Annie, only it isn't Annie, just a waitress. She stands by the trolley, the knife in her hand, ready to slice whatever anyone wants. The waitress says, "Would you care for anything?" Paul smiles, "Cut me something simple." We cut to Paul. Small holes in the background now. Soft music. Someone might be playing Liberace. Hold on, Paul. Final fade out. The end. Angela Critters. Angela. Be right back. was intense. Was that not intense, you guys? I had no idea it was going to take me that long. I mean, we've been at it more than 3 hours tonight. And I appreciate you guys sticking things out with me. I know these productions can be long sometimes. I'll certainly go back in and chop it up and clean it up. And the beauty of these live streams, kind of repurpose these stories. I hope I didn't miss anybody tonight. A lot of you guys are staunch supporters of me. I appreciate that. I am getting close to doing some monetization type things with the channel, but and some collaborations, things of that nature. You guys, you know, if you have a request, you can always leave it in the chat and I go back and look at those later. Or you can email me at jscullybooks@gmail.com. I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. I'm coming back to life. Still can't smell or taste. It's weird. Angela Critters. When my head starts pounding, I bind it up tightly for about 15-20 minutes. Slows the blood flow a bit. Benny Loco. Rocks. Benny Loco. We're thinking about you, darling. I know it hurts. You hang in there, darling. Thank you, Scully. Sagenta. Heavy metal chef. That was so good, Scully. Thank you. A little fish in the kitchen. Awesome storytelling, sweet as sugar's revenge. You rock, Scully. Angela Critters. Benny Loco. Great reading, Scully. Dagon Hills. Thank you, Scully. Jenny 867-5309. Heavy metal chef. Sagenda. Check, Sagenda, check. Check. I'm still here. Roxanne. Share it out. The author that reads to you. Books on tape with a twist. A little fish in the kitchen. A little fish in the kitchen. Yeah, one of the cool things about having a reading channel is doing collaborations, for instance, like with Dagon Hills. And I do have plans to bring in special guests to read. up on panel doing a Christmas Carol on I think it's the 19th, let's see, the 18th, Sunday the 18th of December with Nez Lover and I. We're going to do a Christmas Carol. At any rate, I think it was a success tonight. I'd like to thank you guys for coming out. It means so much to me. This is the house of thrillers. I'm Scully.